On today's Strictly Vikings, man, oh man, are we going to get into it? We're going to talk about a big win over the Packers. Of course, we're going to preview the biggest game of the year and arguably the biggest regular season matchup in NFL history. It's all going down on Sunday night. We'll take our side eye look around the league, see how the rest of the playoff picture is shaping out. We're going to take our Facebook scroll of the week, see what Vikings fans have to say about the win over the Packers. We're going to preview that Lions game. And of course, we will finish it off with our ChatGPT player of the day. Let's get into it. Today is Wednesday, January 1st, and Happy New Year's to everyone. I hope your 2024 was blessed, made it one of your best years of your entire life, hopefully, and hopefully 2025 is even better. But let me tell you, this Minnesota Vikings team might be a team of destiny, because what I watched on Sunday was another ass whooping of the Green Bay Packers. The Minnesota Vikings sweep the Packers for the first time since 2017. This has been one of the most even rivalries in the entire NFL for years and years and years. I think the last 4 seasons, the Vikings and Packers have split, and they've had some different teams in those eras too. Packers have been bad, Vikings have been bad. They've had some different teams, but they always seem to split. And now the Vikings are on top of this rivalry once again. Love to see it. I absolutely love to see it. And yet, I still feel like the Minnesota Vikings are getting disrespected. It took until this win for people to really start talking about the Vikings and how they're actually playing for the number 1 seed, and they have been playing for the number 1 seed for like a month now. But people just failed to realize that 4 weeks ago. We've been talking about it the entire time. But now the rest of the media is woken up. Biggest game of the year coming up on Sunday Night Football. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, let's get to this amazing game against the Green Bay Packers that left me with a lot of confidence, a lot of joy, and a lot of hope for this Minnesota Vikings team. Let's start with the offense, as we always do. Got the turnover right away from your defense. I would have loved to see points scored there. You get the fumble after the Packers had a decent drive going. You get the ball back with decent field position. You'd love to see to just get 3 points on the board there and not, just a couple first downs, then a punt. It is what it is. But, capitalizing off those turnovers is key in very important games. Jalen Nailor, welcome back. That touchdown was absolutely electric. Got the Vikings on the board. Great decoy from Justin Jefferson coming across the middle. 3 guys. The magnitude of Justin Jefferson is unbelievable, and it was on display early in this game. And Speedy Nailor just, see ya, right behind you. Like, don't pay attention to me. I'm just going to squeak right past you. I'm just going to squeeze right past you. Oh, I'm just going to squeeze right past you here, said Jalen Nailor as he ran by a lot of Packers defenders for that touchdown. Beautiful ball by Sam Darnold. Held on to it, make sure he didn't rush it. He knew it was going to be there. Awesome stuff from Darnold. Justin Jefferson, like I said, he wasn't seeing the ball much early, but man, he was playing major decoy role in this one. Everyone was getting fed. Addison, Hawkinson, Nailor, they were all getting fed. Aaron Jones was running the ball well, and you could tell this Packers defense was keen on Justin Jefferson. They don't want to see him go off. They're going to make everyone else beat you. And when your everyone else is Jordan Addison, Jalen Nailor, and TJ Hawkinson, and Aaron Jones, you still have a pretty good chance to win that game. Let's just say that. That catch was absolutely insane. That third down catch. Cam Robinson owes Justin Jefferson a beer, whatever they drink. Cam Robinson owes him something, because that holding call negated one of the greatest catches of Justin Jefferson's career. One of the most clutch catches of Justin Jefferson's career, and it would have been absolutely an insane moment if that catch followed through for the first down. TJ Hawkinson was making big plays when they were needed. People were saying he was going to have a pretty good game just because he's a big man beater. I remember Bill Belichick previewing the game. He said that TJ Hawkinson is going to be the X factor. And he was to a point. He was nothing like, he wasn't going for 10 catches, 100 yards, and a tutty. But, he caught some big third downs. He was a matchup nightmare for this Packers defense, especially with Quay Walker out. That could be a guy who could potentially cover him maybe. But TJ Hawkinson playing his role perfectly, coming up with huge grabs when we needed them the most. You love to see that from TJ. That needs to continue into the playoffs. Needs to. He needs to be fed the ball. He needs to be targeted. It needs to be a priority to get him the ball, because not only is he good at getting open, but he's good in space. He can make a couple guys miss. He's hard to tackle. He can convert those second and longs to third and short, which is key for this Vikings offense, and they've been doing a very good job at doing that all season. Sam Darnold, I mean, he played a fantastic game besides that interception. That interception, trying to be aggressive, corner just kind of fooled you. You had a smash concept with the hitch and the corner. Corner probably bit up a little bit, then fled back, was able to pick it off there, tried to fit it into a very, very tight window. It happens. That's what happens when you're aggressive. I'm not going to hate Sam Darnold on being aggressive at all. And then what do? He came out and answered with a touchdown or a field. He came back and answered with points. I believe it was a touchdown right after that Packers touchdown. That was a hell of a way to answer from Sam Darnold there. But again, 17-point lead. It's the last thing you need is a turnover to get this Packers team right back into the game. But like I said, he capitalized on the next drive. Sam Darnold played a great game, career high in pass yards, right in Keyshawn Nixon's face. Keyshawn Nixon saying he was going to come into this game, saying it wasn't going to be a challenge coming into this game playing Sam Darnold. It's not a challenge, he told the ESPN reporter. And Sam Darnold went out there and threw for a career high with Keyshawn Nixon playing in the secondary. First of all, I don't know why Keyshawn Nixon is talking anything. He's not good. He's a return specialist. There's no way a return specialist should be playing corner on a starting defense that is supposed to be a playoff caliber team. It's ridiculous. The offensive line played great. They had a couple breakdowns, a couple penalties, a sack allowed. But you can't ask for much more. I mean, if your offensive line is going to play like that consistently, and they're going to play like that in the playoffs, they're not going to be the reason you lose a game. And I don't think they've been that all season. I don't think they've been a reason that we've lost a game all season. As long as they keep doing that, that's fine. Because you're giving Sam Darnold enough time to distribute the ball to your playmakers that you need to do. And like I said, if this offensive line can just keep it up, keep stacking on good games, keep getting this chemistry down with Cam Robinson, Dalton Reisner coming in the middle of the season, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Great things will happen. Will Reichard, he needs to wake up. Easiest way to put it, he needs to wake up. We're going to need those field goals in the playoffs. We're going to need him to lock in for the playoffs. We can't be affording the 57-yarder missing it short. That's fine. 57-yarders are not automatic, but it's the shorter ones that we're going to need. And I know Will Reichard can make plays like that. Like we've seen him make that field goal before. So if we can get home field advantage with the number one seed and we're kicking indoors the entire playoffs and in the Super Bowl in New Orleans, that'd be a huge plus for Will Reichard. I just want him to get his confidence back. KOC's got to indulge that confidence back into him. And I think he can. 1 3-and-out between Green Bay touchdowns was killer. That was kind of when Green Bay kind of got back into the game. It felt like the momentum was on their side. That was like their only 3-and-out the entire game. And of course, it was sandwiched between the 2 touchdowns. You would love to take some time off the clock there. But again, I respect KOC for trying to be aggressive. You need first downs. You want first downs. You don't want to just go out there, run the ball for 2 yards of play, take off 2 minutes, and give the ball back to the Packers. You want first downs. You want to just go down, even put points on the board. You want to just end this game. You want to end this game. And then when we needed to end this game, you closed it out with CJ Ham and Cam Akers. Absolutely crazy work Crazy. CJM, the pride of Minnesota, the pride of Duluth, Augustana, D2, everything about him represents the Minnesota Vikings. Huge first down on the first play when you needed to close it out. Cam Akers, a lot of running backs in the NFL would have dropped that pass. Cam Akers comes up with the catch. Ball game. Huge stuff from that backfield. Cam Akers stepping up when Aaron Jones got a little banged up. You love to see it. Signing of the season, mid-season for the Vikings. Because I'm not going to say that because you can put Blake Cashman, all those other guys in there. But mid-season signing or traded for, whatever they did, that was huge stuff from Cam Akers. All right, let's get to the defense. I started with the way to set the tone early. I said this for the offensive side of the ball. Way to set the tone early with a turnover. You don't want to give them any momentum when you're playing at home. Get this crowd locked in. Get this crowd engaged. All right. I thought the tackling was elite all game. Josh Metellus on that 3rd and goal for the Packers got Tucker Kraft down right away on a crossing pattern. I think it was like 3rd and goal from like the 7 or 6, whatever. Great stuff from Josh Metellus to hold the Packers to a field goal, the initial points of the game. That's a big, big stop in the red zone there. I thought the tackling was awesome all game. They weren't allowing, this defense wasn't allowing anything. Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur were inside their own heads on what they were doing with this Minnesota Vikings defense. They couldn't figure out the looks. Then they finally did in the 4th quarter, but when you're figuring out looks in the 4th quarter and you've already given yourself a 17-point deficit or whatever the hell it was, it's going to be hard to come back in games. And Packers fans can say blah blah blah, like, oh, we're coming back, we're coming. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're coming back and you lose the game. It's not how the NFL is decided. Jordan Love had 64 yards heading into the 4th quarter. 64 yards. We're talking about a $55 million quarterback having 64 yards going into the 4th quarter. You're paying that guy difference maker money. You're paying that guy Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow type money. And those guys don't have 64 yards heading into the 4th quarter, no matter who they're playing. And I can promise you, if they have 64 yards heading into the 4th quarter, it's something crazy happened, or they're just running the hell out of the ball and they're winning. Those guys don't do that. Dallas Turner sack. No better feeling than a Vikings 1st-round pick sacking a Packers quarterback. No better feeling than that. I think the best Packers sack was always Harrison Smith sacking Aaron Rodgers, because that was like the 2 chess pieces of this rivalry for decades. Not decades, for a decade, I should say, over a decade. But Harrison Smith, just consistent chess piece of this Vikings defense, sacking Aaron Rodgers, the chess piece of that Packers offense for years and years and years. I think that was the most satisfying for me. But I think second, probably 1st-round rookie, getting the taste of sacking a Packers quarterback in a big rivalry game. Love to see it. Dallas Turner's come on, these last couple weeks. And if he can get going in the playoffs, this Vikings defense is going to look even better than they already have this season. Great stuff. Vikings are undefeated when Blake Cashman plays. This dude is absolutely all over the place. Multiple sacks in this one. He has a lot of sacks on the season. I mean, there's a reason the Vikings are undefeated when he plays. Yeah, we lost to the Lions and the Rams when he didn't play, and maybe we still lose those games if he does play. But Blake Cashman is the centerpiece of this defense, and he's the most important part of this defense easily. Great to see Ivan Pace Jr. back. He makes a world of a difference, just a different element, especially in the blitz packages. He's a handful to pick up. And even if he doesn't get there, just how hard he runs at these offensive linemen, just hit after hit after hit, that these offensive linemen are sustaining from this stocky linebacker that is way too small to be an NFL linebacker, but he makes up for it in a world of different ways. Just great to have him back in the lineup. It's a great linebacker duo the Minnesota Vikings have. Beeflo's defense, it might get a little too soft when the Vikings get a lead. I get not trying to allow big plays, but you can't give up 10 yards like it's a handoff. I think that's the frustrating part. You're not allowing anything over the head or over the top of you, which you can't allow. You can't allow any big plays. If the Packers are going to score, you need these drives to take off 4 to 5 minutes every single time. And they weren't doing that. They were, like I said, 10 yards, first downs were a handoff for this Packers offense. It can't be like that. But again, I get not allowing big plays over the top. I just think it gets a little bit too soft towards the end of games when the Vikings have leads. High School Musical dance, that was awesome. Fox cut away from it, though. Not sure what they were doing. That's the moneymaker, Fox. That's why people are going to tune in. Those are the social clips that you need. I don't know why Fox did that. Crazy stuff. Wrapping it up here. Great stuff for the defense, though. Great stuff from the defense. Keep it up. If you keep playing games like that, you're going to look good in the playoffs. Wrapping it up here, Sam Darnold becomes the first quarterback to win 14 games in Vikings history. That 15-win season when they had Dante Culpepper, he won 13 of those games, I believe. So first quarterback to win 14 games in Vikings history, Sam Darnold. Who would have ever thought? So that's going to be a trivia question in 10 years. Second time the Vikings have won 14 games in franchise history. Of course, the other one in 98. KOC is your NFL Coach of the Year. Even if the Vikings go out and lose to the Lions on Sunday, Kevin O'Connell's got to be Coach of the Year. Through the expectations, through what he's done with Sam Darnold, it all points at KOC. Everything points at KOC. Like I said earlier, first time sweeping Green Bay since 2017. You absolutely love it. If you were to told me that the Vikings go 2-15 going into the year, but their 2 wins are against Green Bay, it's fine with me. Fine with me, especially with the expectations I had going into the season. And as much as that win rocked, as much as it was amazing, the job is not done. Nothing to smile about. The job ain't done. Because we have the biggest regular season game coming up. Sunday Night Football. It's going to be the longest Sunday of your life, folks. The longest Sunday. And it's going to be the longest week of your life. It's Wednesday if you're listening to this as soon as it comes out. We still got all day today, all day Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. It's going to be the longest week of your life. It's going to take a long time. All right. Great game. Love beating the Packers no matter what it is. No matter what the team are, what the records are. Beating the Packers is always just... Oh, another statistic here. Vikings closed as half-point underdogs into this game. First time ever a 13-win team was home underdogs in NFL history, but taking out the teams resting starters in the last week. Crazy stuff. Crazy disrespect. That's what I'm talking about, disrespect for the Minnesota Vikings. Side-eye look around the league here. Lions won, but that game didn't matter. The 49ers offense ran laps around this team. Laps. A 49ers offense that's on their third running back, that's missing their left tackle, that hasn't looked great all season, that doesn't have a true wide receiver one. The 49ers ran laps around this defense. And I can promise you, if the Lions play that defense on Sunday Night Football, there's not a shot they win that game. There is not a shot they win that. We're going to get into it a little bit more here in a little bit, but the games on Christmas stunk. Ravens and Chiefs, absolute blowouts. What do you know? What's new? I had one eye on the games at all times. Fantasy purposes, I was kind of watching, but at the same time, it was just like, who cares? I'm supposed to be spending time with my family. I don't need to watch a bunch of blowouts, all right? Christmas is on Thursday next year, too. They're going to have like 3 or 4 games. Guaranteed. Ratings were great, so that's how you know they're going to have more. Bears lost the most boring football game in NFL history on Thursday Night Football, 6-3. The Bears covered 4 points, so I guess good teams win, great teams cover, so I guess the Bears are a great team. Commanders hold off the Falcons in a big game. The Commanders cement themselves into the playoffs. Seeding will be tricky. Green Bay is the 7th seed right now, and they would go to Philly round 1 if things if things stay as they are right now. Obviously, teams are going to win, lose, seeding can all change up, but the Commanders are locked into the 6th seed right now. They would go to LA to play. The Vikings are locked into that 5 seed. If they lose, can't go any lower than that. And you're more than likely going to have a matchup with the Rams in LA. So we'll see how that plays out. Bengals hold off the Broncos in an insane game. I don't know if you guys watched that Saturday mid-afternoon game. It was a crazy game. Crazy game. But Bengals, playoff hopes are alive. They need, I believe, 2 teams to lose and them to win. It's between the Broncos, Bengals, and Dolphins right now for who's going to get in. So we'll see, but it's going to be a crazy one. Rams beat the Cardinals. LA doesn't look like they used to. I'm not as afraid as the Rams as I once was a couple weeks ago, especially, when they beat the Vikings too. This offense looks broken. Cooper Kupp doesn't look great. And of course, I'm saying this now, and they'll go light up the Vikings if they end up playing them in the playoffs. But it's something about this offense that just doesn't look right. Cooper Kupp has like 7 catches for 70 yards in 4 out of the last 5 games. If you take away the Bills game, like, he hasn't been doing anything. Something's off with this team. And the other team the Vikings might play, the Buccaneers, they smoked the Panthers, and they're looking like a great team. I honestly would almost rather play the Rams instead of the Buccaneers right now. I don't really want to play Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, that experience in the playoffs, Tampa, all that. I don't know if I want to do that. I think I'd rather play the Rams, because the Rams home field advantage isn't much of home field advantage. I feel like there'd be a lot of Vikings fans there. Eagles killed the Cowboys without Jalen Hurts. No shocker there. Giants absolutely sold their draft position. Giants haven't showed up all year, and then as soon as they have the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, they show up. That's brutal. I believe they dropped from pick 1 to 4, which drops you out of quarterback range, considering there's 2 at the top. Crazy stuff from New York, and I would be very salty if I was a New York Giants fan. Very salty. Dolphins and Browns game was on during the Vikings Packers games. I literally didn't watch a single second of it. Not a single second of it. Because what? Because why? It was DTR versus Tyler Huntley. Snoop Huntley, sorry. Nobody and their mom wants to watch that. So everybody in America essentially watched that Vikings-Packers game. Granted, that's probably why they're getting more respect now than they have been all season, because they basically just had a primetime game in which they smoked them. All right, that's our side eye look around the league. Stuff's going to get figured out here in Week 18. I'm not going to go too much into depth of what could all happen, because it's all going to play itself out on Sunday. The Vikings are locked into the 1 or the 5th seed, and they're most likely going to play the Rams or the Bucks. So I'm not really I'm not going to go through all these crazy scenarios that could happen, especially in the AFC. Don't care. All right, let's start our Facebook scroll of the week here. I'm really hoping the Vikings get a bye so we don't have to play Detroit again until the Super Bowl. That's just not correct at all. None of it about it's correct at all. Because if the Vikings got a bye, 1, the Vikings can't play the Lions in the Super Bowl. 2, if the Vikings did get a bye, you'd probably be playing Detroit in the second round if all the division leaders won, but I don't know. There was an NFL survey that said the Vikings fans are the dumbest fans in the NFL, and statements like these prove that thing just right. Let's just say that. Someone said, I'm tired of being harassed just because I show displeasure with the team I root for. Well, first of all, welcome to the internet. You can't say anything without being harassed, no matter what it is. And 2, when your team is 14-2 and you're still bitching and moaning, people are going to get pissed at you. How can you not expect that? You have to expect people getting frustrated and mad at you if you nitpick every single little thing about this Minnesota Vikings team. And 1, if you don't like being harassed, just get off the internet. Obviously, you're not built for the internet and you're not built for Facebook. You got to be different to be posting in Facebook groups. Let's just say that. Someone said, even with the Falcons quarterback being benched, I'm assuming they're talking about Kirk Cousins, he had a better season than JJ McCarthy. Bunch of laughing emojis. Did he, though? Did he have a better season than JJ McCarthy? I don't know if he did. He probably did in the aspect of he made a shit ton of money and didn't have to play down the stretch, and he didn't have to play important games. But also, JJ McCarthy made a lot of money, he didn't have to play at all. So I don't know. It's a tricky situation, and it's just a weird thing to say. Even with the Falcons quarterback being benched, he had a better season than JJ. So are you like trying to say that the Vikings should have kept Kirk Cousins? We're not on this topic still, are we? Come on now, people. Well, this is just great. Way to go, Vikings. You keep this up, you won't be getting far. You have a great lead and you play great ball until it matters. This makes no sense. The Packers didn't have the ball once in the second half to take the lead. So although the Packers were coming back in this game, there was never a chance for them to go win the game in the second half. So I don't know what people are arguing about how the Vikings can't close out games. I mean, yes, you can say the Vikings let teams back into games, but they're also 9-1 in one-score games. So all of this talk about, oh, you can't finish games, they're 9-1 in one-score games. Moving on. Saying the Vikings should move on from Darnold is as bad as saying the Vikings should trade Jefferson for picks. That's just not, no. It's not that whatsoever. No, not that whatsoever. That I'm not even going to get into the details, but it's not that bad at all. But I'm also kind of like on the bring Sam Darnold back train now. Just after that locker room video happened, I'm kind of back on the, all right, we might have to bring him back. Franchise tag him. I'm not signing him to a contract, especially with JJ McCarthy there. It's going to be interesting how it all folds out. And the playoffs will honestly have a big factor in how it does. So I'm not going to jump into that talk either because it's all hypotheticals. And I feel like there will be an obvious answer at the end of the season. So we'll see. Anyone catch the postgame? Bradshaw actually said, wait, what? Anyone catch the postgame? People need to use freaking commas and periods in these posts. They don't. Bradshaw actually said, why is no one saying Darnold is an MVP candidate? That's facts. He's the best quarterback in the NFC right now. He's had the best season from a quarterback in the NFC, but Lamar and Josh Allen are on a different level. They've been outstanding this year. Someone did the meme of KOC, handshake, Brian Flores, shit coaching. What? He said, edit for the dumb ones. So he's calling other people dumb that don't agree with him. Entering the fourth quarter, Love had 63 yards and 0 touchdowns. Then he threw for 122 yards and a touchdown in just the fourth. And as for the offense, they went scoreless on 3 of 6 drives in the second half, including scoreless in the fourth quarter. So I completely forgot that NFL games only count in the fourth quarter. So I forgot that what you did prior to the fourth quarter doesn't count as coaching at all. It's actually a detriment to getting a lead and then allowing the team to score points in the fourth quarter. You should just not do that. So shout out this guy for saying KOC and Brian Flores are shit coaches. Maybe he's just trying to reverse it. Maybe he's trying to say like Brian Flores, he doesn't deserve a head coaching job. Maybe he's like galaxy brain moves right now, saying that he wants to keep Flores, but judging by this guy's profile picture, I don't think he's thinking that far ahead. Let's just say that. Don't get mad. Why do many of you hate the Packers? I don't and always wish them well. Die-hard Vikings fans here. I hate the Saints. You're not a die-hard Vikings fans if you don't hate the Packers. The hatred for the Packers has definitely, I don't want to say it's softened up, but it's not as intense from me once Rodgers left. Rodgers was one of the pillars of my hate for the Green Bay Packers. He's the ultimate douchebag, and he's one cocky MFer, and he was a pillar to my hatred for this team. And when he left, that pillar fell down. But there's still 100 other of them. There's still 100 other reasons to hate this team. And the biggest reason why, obviously, is because so many people, so many Packers fans moved to Minnesota because obviously it's a better state and it's a better place to live. And they showboat and they do all this talking in my state. Sorry, not my state. In the state in which I live in. And that is probably the biggest pillar now for me, that I have to deal with these Packers fans. But if you're going to sit here and say you don't hate the Packers and you're a Vikings fan, I question your fandom. Let's just put it that way. Any other team's fans can relax with a 17-point lead in the fourth. Vikings fans can't relax until the final whistle blows. That's true. But at the same time, when we had a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter, I was like, okay, this is pretty chalked up. And I know the Vikings still needed a first down at the end of the game to seal the deal. But at the same time, it was pretty chalked up. I was getting my tweets going in the fourth quarter. I was getting my tweets ready. All right, someone named 3 options here. 3 options that are crazy to me. Sign Darnold, Daniel Jones as a backup, trade JJ McCarthy. No, first of all, because why would you? No. Sign Darnold, JJ McCarthy as a backup, trade Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has zero trade value, just to give you a heads up. Then the last one is let Darnold walk, JJ McCarthy as a starter, Daniel Jones as a backup. See, this one actually makes sense, but I don't know if it'll happen. I think Darnold has got to come back, or he's got to trade him. But again, I'm not going to get into all that. If the Vikings win next week against the Lions, Darnold would undoubtedly deserve to be the franchise quarterback. It's not undoubtedly. That would help his cause by 1 million if they get the number 1 seed in the NFC, but it's not undoubtedly whatsoever, because the playoffs are still going to determine a lot for what happens with Darnold's future in Minnesota. That negated catch Jefferson made would have been among the best in history. I don't know about that. It would have been up there for sure. One of the best in history? I don't know. Someone said not a LaFleur fan. He's not a LaFleur fan. He's kind of a crybaby and throws tantrums, in my opinion. Yeah, he was during this game. He did have a couple fair points to bitch and moan about some calls, but it is the Packers, and they get every single call known to man. But yeah, he does throw a lot of tantrums. He is a crybaby, especially when they pan to him on the sideline. He's always bitching about something, and usually it's his fault. I feel like the offensive play calling was just bad. The execution was just bad. Someone said the only reason the score was close is the refs wanted the Packers to win. If the refs were fair, Vikings would win in a blowout. I mean, yeah, that's awesome. That's great stuff from this guy. I mean, that's the kind of mentality. That's the kind of mentality you need as a Vikings fan. Yeah, the refs wanted the Packers to win. Let's just say that. Last one here. We need Romo back to kick field goals. I think Will Reichard can get it together. And the last thing you need is just keep swapping kickers, especially when one's a rookie. Come on now, let's have some patience. That concludes the Vikings Facebook scroll of the week. That was a good one. I feel like that was one of the better ones of the season for sure. Checking in the Minnesota Vikings punishment. Crazy, I've only had to do 2 of these all season. I do not have to drink 12 spotted cows and eat 2 large cheese curds. Thank God. Next one is if the Vikings lose to the Lions on Sunday Night Football, I have to do a research project on Henry Ford. Really not trying to do that because I'm going to be slammed with travel and work the next 2 weeks. That's another thing I do not want to add into my rotation. Here we go. Let's preview it. The biggest regular season matchup in NFL history. I'm confident in saying that. The biggest regular season matchup in NFL history. The 4th time in NFL history that a matchup is between 2 teams, both at least 10 games above 500. First time that 2 teams are playing with 14 wins in the regular season. 14 14 wins. 14 wins. Unbelievable. And I believe it's also it might be the second time the 1 seed is decided in the last week of the season. I believe it's the second. I believe it was a Giants-Cowboys game way back when that did it before. So it's not the first time this has happened. The main matchup that I'm looking at here, Vikings defense versus the Lions offense. The key matchup. I'm not worried about this Vikings offense going up against this Lions defense. I think you're going to be able to move the ball. I think you're going to be able to execute with all your weapons, a banged up Lions defense. You just got to watch that 49ers film. What the 49ers do that was successful, let's copy that. Let's put up the points. But the Vikings defense versus the Lions offense, you got to beware of the gadget plays. I don't want you to overly beware because then you're going to start thinking too much. But beware the gadget plays. The Lions got them, and they're not afraid to use them at any time. So beware of that. Be aware of Kirby Joseph on the offensive side of the ball because he's going to be flying around. He's going to be looking for ACLs. He's going to be looking. His head's going to be on a swivel. He's going to be looking for everybody. He's especially TJ Hawkinson. I don't know what it is about him, but he's going to be going for that ACL. And I tell you, the NFL might have to look into a Kirby Joseph problem if that happens again. Let's just say that. I mentioned it earlier. The 49ers ran laps around the Lions defense on Monday night. The Vikings need to do the same. They need to do it. Getting stops is going to be the biggest thing. And Vegas loves these two offenses. Highest over-under in over 3 years. 57.5. That's a college game. 57.5. That's crazy. Vikings win 31-27. That's my prediction. Over hits. I think the Lions are 3-point favorites right now. And I can't say this enough. This game is a winner-take-all, Super Bowl-altering, legacy-changing game. This game matters just as much as any other playoff game, any other NFC champ. It matters so much to get a bye, to play your playoff games at home, and to not go on the road the first week of the playoffs. It matters so much. It matters so much for the Vikings, and it matters so much for the Lions. It is going to be an absolute movie. I can't wait for this game. But again, the longest week of our lives is upon us right now. And the longest day of our lives is going to be upon us in about 5 days. 4 days, maybe. I don't know. Man, I absolutely can't wait. It's going to be something out of a Disney movie. Let me just tell you that. All right. Name the most random Vikings player you can think of. I'm going to say, I hope you guys have your guess. I'm going to say, I feel like we've been on the right track. So I think it was Josh Freeman last week. I'm not going to guess Josh Freeman again because that's dumb. I'm going to say Laquan Treadwell, Vikings legend, first round pick. How about Tahi Jones? He was a fullback for the Minnesota Vikings from 2006 to 2009. Not exactly a household name, but he was part of a team during an interesting period, including when Adrian Peterson was beginning to make a name for himself. Well, yeah, that was Adrian Peterson's first year. I appreciate you guys. Biggest game of the year on Sunday. It's going to be crazy. Share this podcast with your family, friends. DMs are always open on Instagram, Strictly Leighton. I have a Facebook now, too. All the stuff that gets posted on my Instagram gets posted on Facebook. Strictly Leighton, go look it up. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all of you guys. Skol Vikes. Thank you. Biggest game of the year on Sunday. Appreciate you guys.